A claim from Ducati's own management has left MotoGP fans around the world stunned, not because of what was said, but what it might mean for Francesco Bagnaia, the face of the Italian powerhouse. The world of MotoGP, where loyalty and precision define every race, the relationship between a factory and its leading rider is sacred. But over the past few weeks, that balance seems to have been shaken within Ducati, a team that has dominated the grid and produced one of the sport's most successful modern champions. The controversy started quietly, with comments made by Ducati team manager Davide Tardozzi. His reaction to reports about Bagnaia testing another bike, a machine that wasn't the official factory prototype, immediately sparked speculation. Tardozzi said he was very surprised to hear claims from the VR46 racing team suggesting Bagnaia had tested their GP Duaporo model during a private session at Misano. While Ducati maintained that there was nothing unusual about the test, the language raised eyebrows. For the first time, it sounded as though Ducati was distancing itself, if only slightly, from its two-time world champion. Bagnaia, who has been the pride of the Bologna factory, suddenly found himself at the center of a conversation that blurred the lines between strategy, loyalty, and internal politics. What started as a routine testing rumor quickly evolved into a headline, one that hinted at cracks within one of MotoGP's strongest alliances. And this wasn't the first time Ducati had made headlines involving its star rider. Earlier this season, another unexpected incident involving Bagnaia's bike would raise even more questions about how much trust truly exists between the champion and the team that built his success. To understand why Ducati's recent comments made such an impact, you have to understand just how much Francesco Bagnaia means to the brand, and how much pressure that carries. Francesco Pecco Bagnaia's story reads like an Italian motorsport dream. From his early days in Moto2 to his breakthrough at Ducati's factory team, his ascent has been nothing short of spectacular. In 2022, he brought Ducati its first MotoGP world title in 15 years, breaking a drought that even legends before him couldn't end. He didn't just win races, he redefined what it meant to ride a Ducati, balancing aggression with the kind of precision that made engineers beam with pride. That success transformed him into the face of Ducati's modern era. His red and white Desmodesici became the symbol of Italian resurgence in a sport long dominated by Spanish and Japanese manufacturers. Fans saw him as the perfect ambassador, calm, humble, technically gifted, and loyal. But that loyalty came with immense expectations. Every lap, every mistake, and every comment was analyzed not only by fans, but by a team that expects excellence on and off the track. Inside the paddock, Bagnaia became known for his close communication with Ducati engineers. Yet behind the victories, whispers began circulating, questions about whether Bagnaia's dominance was beginning to show cracks under relentless scrutiny. Ducati's culture of perfection doesn't easily allow for inconsistency, and as the defending champion faced pressure from rising competitors, the spotlight grew hotter. The image of unity between Ducati and its champion was flawless until a strange moment in Japan put everything under the microscope. When smoke poured from the back of Bagnaia's Ducati at Motegi, fans expected disaster, but what happened next only deepened the mystery. During the Japanese Grand Prix, late in the race, television cameras captured something that sent shockwaves across pit walls, visible smoke trailing from Bagnaia's Desmodesici. Yet, despite what looked like a mechanical failure, Bagnaia kept his composure, pushing through to finish the race. Ducati confirmed soon after that the issue came from a faulty oil filter seal, assuring fans and media that the engine was safe and no rules were broken. Still, the optics were difficult to ignore. Rival teams immediately questioned the situation, calling for clearer safety protocols when mechanical problems occurred during races. The incident raised a broader question: had Ducati pushed the limits of performance too far? The official explanation was calm and technical, but the reactions around the paddock were anything but. Journalists noted how quickly Ducati worked to control the narrative. They emphasized that the championship leader's bike was safe and that no advantage was gained. But the visual of a smoking, winning Ducati lingered, a powerful image of perfection under pressure. For Bagnaia, the situation was delicate. While he trusted the team's explanation, fans began to wonder whether he was being overprotected by Ducati's PR machinery. Every statement seemed calculated, and the tone of Ducati's management began to shift, from prideful celebration to careful defense. The Motegi incident might have passed as a minor mechanical glitch, but in hindsight, it set the stage for a series of comments and claims that would challenge Ducati's image of unity once again. It started as a rumor in the paddock, but when reports surfaced that Bagnaia had tested a rival team's bike, Ducati's calm exterior cracked. Shortly after, Ducati's team manager Davide Tardozzi addressed the reports directly. In a controlled but pointed statement, he said he was very surprised by the VR46 side's comments, emphasizing that Ducati had not authorized any unusual test involving Bagnaia. It was a rare public response, one that seemed designed to clarify Ducati's position, while subtly reminding everyone who controlled the narrative. MotoGP insiders immediately noticed the tone. Very surprised isn't just a casual phrase in the corporate language of racing. It's a polite way of saying something wasn't supposed to happen, or that internal communication had broken down. The situation put Bagnaia in an uncomfortable spot. While no wrongdoing was implied, the story raised the possibility of tension between the factory and its satellite teams. And with Ducati supplying machinery to multiple outfits, including VR46, the idea that its star rider might be testing non-factory equipment was both intriguing and politically sensitive. The claim by Ducati that they were unaware or surprised by Bagnaia's involvement became one of the most talked about stories of the season. And it marked a turning point. Ducati's first public attempt to separate its image from the actions of its champion. When a factory publicly admits it's surprised by its world champion, it's not just a comment, it's a message. After the Misano testing claims surfaced, Ducati team manager Davide Tardozzi's statement quickly spread through MotoGP media outlets. He said he was very surprised by VR46's suggestion that Francesco Bagnaia had tested their GP Duapuro bike. On the surface, it sounded like a calm response. But inside MotoGP's competitive world, where every word is weighed and every phrase dissected, that simple comment carried real weight. Ducati's management rarely comments on speculation. The company's public communications are known for being tight, cautious, and unified, especially when it comes to Bagnaia. So, hearing a key figure express surprise about the activities of their own champion raised questions. Was this Ducati subtly placing distance between themselves and their rider? Analysts noted that the language was deliberate. Ducati wasn't denying anything outright. Instead, it was signaling that something unusual might have occurred without full factory oversight. Whether that meant miscommunication, political friction, or an attempt to protect the brand's image, no one could say for certain. Bagnaia, meanwhile, stayed composed. He didn't respond publicly, focusing instead on preparing for the next round. But the dynamic had changed. Inside the paddock, reporters whispered about possible internal disagreements, whispers Ducati was quick to quiet. The team reminded everyone that their focus remained on the championship. Still, fans couldn't ignore the pattern forming. First, the smoking bike controversy, now a surprising test story. Both incidents followed by quick Ducati statements aimed at controlling the narrative. For a team known for precision and control, the tone felt defensive. By this point, it was no longer about one comment or one misunderstanding. It was about perception, and in MotoGP, perception can change everything. When a factory says it needs to protect its champion, you know the pressure has reached breaking point. After a few inconsistent race weekends, reports emerged quoting Ducati's leadership saying they wanted to protect a devastated Bagnaia. The phrase, used by a senior team member, struck an emotional chord and sparked new discussions about the mental and competitive strain facing the two-time world champion. In MotoGP, words like protection are rarely used. Teams often prefer to talk about data, performance, and adjustments, but this was different. Ducati seemed to acknowledge that its star rider was under immense psychological pressure. The reason wasn't just the championship fight, it was the growing expectation that Bagnaia must carry the entire brand on his shoulders. That image of strength and unity, the polished pairing of Italian rider and Italian machine, was beginning to show tension. Fans noticed small changes. Bagnaia's post-race interviews became shorter, his tone more measured. Insiders described a man trying to stay focused while juggling both technical responsibility and brand loyalty. For Ducati, the challenge was balancing empathy with results. Publicly, they showed support. Privately, the message was clear. They needed him at full strength to secure another title. The protection comment, likely meant to show understanding, ended up revealing just how much internal strain had built up behind the scenes. As rivals like Jorge Martin and Marc Marquez gained momentum, the championship battle intensified, and with it, Ducati's efforts to manage its image. Every race became a test of not just speed, but resilience. And beneath the surface, the question lingered. How much longer could Ducati keep the pressure contained before something had to give?